Recently, I switched over to Micro Four Thirds in 2021, specifically the Lumix G9, and here's how it's been going. This video might be pretty long, so right below I have markers across the video's timeline, so if you guys want, you can click on certain sections you're particularly interested in. I switched over from Canon a couple months ago and switched over to Micro Four Thirds. I'll tell you why in this video. I switched over to the Lumix G9 from the Canon SL2. In my opinion, this is a big upgrade. The setup that I'm currently using is the Lumix G9 with the Viltrox speed boost. Enables me to use Canon lenses. The resolution of this camera right now, we're shooting in 4K, so if you really want to, you can zoom in. I'm not sure why this applies to this shot, but again, 4K extra resolution, it's very nice. It also shoots in 1080. I usually use that so then I can shoot in 60 frames per second. So right now, here are all the frame rates with the camera, and also this camera does shoot 10-bit. Just keep in mind the file size, shooting in 1080 and 4K. Let's talk about its colors. It shoots up to 10-bit 422. That's ridiculous. This camera is about right under $1,000 and it shoots 10-bit. It also has different picture styles, regular, HLG, Vlog, which I haven't gotten yet, but I'll test as soon as I will get that upgrade, and personally my favorite, Cine D. When you buy this camera straight out of the box, it comes with HLG, and HLG is the highest color profile. I personally don't like it. Even though the colors technically do have a bit more detail, a bit more contrast and saturation, they just look different. The colors just aren't right. For example, like let's take this clip, grade it normally, the skin tone's great. Even when I drop a $10 HLG LUT on there, it still doesn't look right. Like, even though Cine D is technically considered to be worse, I prefer it way more than HLG. But either way, they both are in 10-bit, so whichever you prefer, it has amazing color quality. Like, even take this clip right now. This is ungraded in Cine D. Now this is graded. Like, looks pretty good. This is a very fun part with this camera, especially its autofocus. For example, let me just look down really quick, right? It's blurry. And now, funny thing, this is actually the first time the autofocus works, so now here's some clips of the autofocus not working, like the majority of the time. At f1.3 because of the speed booster, and the speed booster isn't the highest of quality, but with this setup you can't fully rely on autofocus. Of course, I'm using face detect, which is probably the best autofocus mode if you're filming someone, but when I'm filming all my b-roll, all my cinematic stuff, I try to shoot in manual just to get maximum reliability, which the autofocus mode doesn't exactly have. This could just be me, but some of the buttons don't always respond. Like occasionally some buttons will glitch, like the screen display button when switching from viewfinder to screen. Occasionally there will be like a 3-second lag. Not a very big deal, but it's still noticeable in your workflow. The menu system, it's pretty similar to Canon's and other menu systems, but there are some little quirks. For example, like there will be some mode in your camera that is really just a grid or something like that. There'll be some little setting in your menu that's turned on that you'll probably won't be able to find easily, and that may just tick off your whole camera. Just learn the menu systems. I've sort of gotten the hang of it by now, but it's a bit of a learning curve from Canon. Something that I really need to talk about with this camera is low light. Low light is amazing. Even though this is a micro four thirds sensor, it's by far surpassed my Canon SL2 and the photography side of this camera. This camera was actually originally intended to be a photography first camera, but then once consumers found out it's under $1,000, it can shoot 10-bit 422 video in 4K, people just went nuts and got this for video. It has a 20 megapixel sensor. Some photographers will be like, oh no, that's horrible, we can't use that, we can't crop in at all, but that's just not true. Like, I've taken some pretty amazing photos with this camera. It's surpassed my Canon DSLR. Of course, I prefer the colors on my Canon DSLR a bit more for photography, but this camera also has burst mode, which is just amazing. I use all the Adobe apps to edit all my stuff, and again, with color grading, this footage, 10-bit 422, amazing color grading. Of course, the file sizes are very, very heavy, and Premiere does handle it well. I also have a pretty spec'd out Razer Blade 15 2020 with a NVIDIA RTX 2070 Max Q, which really helps me out. Just a short snippet of some of the footage that I showed in this video. Like, for about 25-second clips, we're already at 4 gigabytes. This footage eats up quick, and sometimes I delete some of the footage that just the focus went off, or just some bad footage, because again, the file sizes are really big. I personally don't have to use proxies. Depending on your machine, you may or may not have to. I just really like editing this file format. It edits very clean. Of course, the file size is pretty massive though. I just wanted to give a rundown of the whole price, just sort of like some concluding thoughts. The camera itself, when I got it, was about $900. The speed booster was about $100, and the lens, which I had before, was $100. So that gives us a total of $1,100. If you're looking for a camera that does hybrid photo and video, and your budget is around $1,000, this is probably the best camera right now on the market. Sony or Canon haven't made any cameras this good. None have 10-bit 422. Sure, this is a micro four thirds camera, but again, the specs kind of outweigh the sensor in this case. So thanks for watching this video. Hopefully this review helped you out at all. Maybe you'll actually go and buy this camera. I don't know. Hopefully I gave you some useful information. I make videos once every week on Tuesday. So subscribe, like the video, share it. See you next week on Tuesday.